Some series hit with mystery, some with atmosphere, and some with a premise that instantly feels dangerous. 8. The Undoing. A murder, a perfect-looking marriage, and the slow collapse of everything underneath it. That's the kind of setup that always works when the cast can carry it, and this one absolutely could. Nicole Kidman and Hugh Grant give it that expensive psychological thriller energy, where every conversation feels polished on the surface and rotten underneath. It's not about speed so much as suspicion, image, and the pleasure of watching privilege crack in public. 7. Unchosen. A repressive religious sect is already enough to create tension, but this one gets more interesting because it's built around female rebellion, secrecy, and the arrival of an outsider who starts shaking the whole structure loose. That gives it a more intimate kind of danger. Instead of big spectacle, the threat comes from control, power, and the fear of what happens when someone inside the system finally starts to resist it. 6. The Copenhagen Test. Spy thrillers usually depend on loyalty and deception, but this one adds a much stronger twist. A US intelligence analyst discovers his brain has been hacked, which means someone else may be seeing and hearing what he does in real time. That's a very clean hook. It turns espionage into something more invasive and paranoid, because the danger isn't just around him anymore, it's inside him. 5. The Head. Isolation does a lot of the work here. Put a group of people in a frozen research station, add murder, distrust, and the feeling that nobody can escape, and you already have the right ingredients for a tense thriller. The real appeal is the atmosphere. This is the kind of series where the setting itself becomes part of the threat, and once paranoia takes over, every character starts to feel like a suspect. 4. Duster. 1970s crime stories always have an advantage when they lean into style, and this one has that built in. A black FBI agent teaming up with a getaway driver to go after a crime boss already sounds like a strong mix of danger and attitude. That setup gives it room for action, tension, and character chemistry at the same time. Even though it only lasted one season, the premise alone is still easy to sell. 3. Last Samurai Standing. This one has one of the cleanest hooks on the whole list. Hundreds of samurai gather for a deadly survival game, and only one walks away with the prize. That's already enough to get attention. What makes it even stronger is the late 19th century setting, because it gives the series historical atmosphere while still playing like a battle royale. It sounds brutal, cinematic, and built for pure momentum. 2. Sugar. A private detective story is one thing. A private detective story wrapped in neo-noir style, Hollywood atmosphere, and a genre-bending sci-fi angle is something much harder to ignore. Colin Farrell gives the whole thing a cool, worn-down presence, and that helps because this is clearly a series that depends a lot on tone. Once a mystery show gets its mood right, it becomes very easy to binge, and this one clearly knows the vibe it wants. 1. The Testaments. This already comes in with major weight because it continues the world of The Handmaid's Tale, and that alone gives it a built-in sense of importance. But what makes it more interesting is that it shifts into a younger perspective while still keeping the same oppressive world hanging over everything. That creates a different kind of tension, less about survival in the moment and more about indoctrination, resistance, and what happens when the next generation starts seeing the cracks in the system. Out of everything here, this is the one that feels the biggest. Some of these are built on tension, some on style, and some on pure high-concept hooks, but all of them have something strong enough to pull people in fast. And that's usually the sign that a series is worth putting on your radar.